Hi everybody, I'm Bree the plant lady, and just like all of you, I have gotten really excited about summer just in time for spring to remind me who's actually in charge. So here in the Raleigh area, we are predicted to go down to 36 tomorrow and Thursday night. So what does that mean if you jumped the gun and planted your tomatoes in the ground? Well, my best recommendation would be to dig them out. Frankly, it's too early and your soil is cold still. But if you don't want to go to that effort, be sure to cover your plants up. Now, in 20 years of gardening here, I know better than to plant tomatoes in the ground in mid-April. I mean, how many times do you need to have a late frost before you learn? So all of my tomatoes, even the ones that are starting to fruit, are still in containers, and these will be coming in to live on my dining room table. But it's not just tomatoes. This is going to be all of your frost-free plants. That includes basil, eggplant, peppers, coleus. So yes, tomorrow I am going to be busy filling up my house with all of the plants that I should have waited a couple more weeks to bring out. I'm not gonna lie, even though I'm not surprised that we are going to be flirting with freezing, I'm super aggravated by it. I, like many of you, have gotten excited about the summer growing season, and now I have to bring all this stuff in for the next 2 nights. So everything you see behind me, primarily tomatoes and coleus, are all gonna come and live inside my dining room. And I've already moved all of my seedling tomatoes into the garage, and now we're just trying to figure out what's the best method for dealing with all of the coleus that I planted in the live wall. Though 36 degrees isn't necessarily freezing, in my experience, particularly with all these plants that have been grown in warm greenhouses, 36 degrees can be really detrimental. It's different when the plants have been growing all summer long and then we start to gradually get cool. In spring, the plants, their physiology is different, especially all these things that I have bought that had been, in heated greenhouses. So I don't want to lose the plants. I don't want to lose the investment. I've only had them a week, and 36 degrees could do them in, not have to buy them all over again. So let's see what we come up with for creative solution for all these tender plants. So our first thought was to wrap the wall in incandescent lights, like these cafe lights, which I showed in a tour how the foliage here, the last time we had a frost, like 2 weeks ago, the foliage closest to these lights didn't freeze, whereas the whole rest of the plant froze. You could see a huge difference in the size of the leaves. That's because these all died. They turned brown, died back. But you see the difference here. This branch didn't have that issue, and it's because the cafe lights were on. But then my husband, who's a pretty clever guy, was like, well, you do have the Land Rover right here, which almost looks just like a greenhouse, right? And there's a lot of room in there. So I think what I'm gonna do is slide all of these off the wall and stash them inside the Land Rover for the next couple of nights. So I'm gonna show you how easy it is and how versatile the live wall is to deal with these late season potential frosts, so that all these coleus will end up surviving and making it through the summer season. So that was a pretty easy solution. The Land Rover full of plants. You saw how easy it was for me to take those off of the living wall. And then all of these other pots are actually fine. These are plants that are cold tolerant. And this is why I try to not go plant shopping too early in the season. So this is not the first time in my 19 years of living in the Raleigh area that we've had a frost or a potential frost after our frost date. And that's the thing, I don't think that those frost dates even mean anything, especially in the climate that we're living in now, where things are just very unpredictable. So I try to never go plant shopping really until May. And I know that it's hard, because trust me, like I had so much fun last week when I went to the nursery shopping with my parents. And even though I knew better than to buy coleus, I wanted to get them in case they ran out. So I fully understand that rationale. But I'm glad I didn't really do my major purchasing, because I would be stuck covering so much more. And that actually happened to me last May. We had the potential for frost, and it was like May 20th. And I had to put everything on a trailer and cover the trailer with a tarp and tuck it into the woods and go to extreme measures. And so I tell you this not because I want you to be paranoid, but because I want you to be aware. And that this is just a pretty normal reality that gardeners face in the spring. And this is entirely why my former boss used to get so mad at this time of year. And now I fully relate to her frustration and calling this the most fickle of all seasons. So another thing I recommend to help deal with potential cold is to water. And frankly, we are really dry. I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth for as wet as we've been, like all winter long. It did nothing but rain, and it is so incredibly dry here. So I've been running the water just to make sure that everything is hydrated, so that these poppies, which are, you know, getting ready to bloom, I don't want these to get destroyed just because we have a couple of nights of 36 degrees. So yeah. Turn on your water systems, give everything a healthy drink, and that will help. Just an example to show you how dry we are. I'm going to be moving the sprinkler over here. Look at these Shasta daisies, how wilted they are. But what's really funny is that adjacent to them, you know, is that mustard and lettuce mix that I direct seeded, and that all looks fine. So it's pretty amazing. You know, people often think that leafy greens are, you know, especially tender or not drought tolerant, and this is kind of proof to prove that wrong. So this bed will definitely benefit from getting a drink. So I'm going to be bringing these potatoes in. Like last time, I'm going to leave the other potato bags out, but I'm just too emotionally invested in these. And I've brought in some of the succulents and other tender plants into this room. Certainly basil absolutely has to come inside. That is not tolerant of mid-30 temperatures. So as you can see, I brought all these seedling tomatoes into the garage. The biggest challenge here was checking for tree frogs. The tree frogs love to get into these and sort of like hang out in between the cell packs. And so I pulled a whole bunch of tree frogs out that who knows if I got them all. Well, it's time for me to start loading these inside to fill up my dining room. This is totally normal, right? Everybody's dining room table looks like this. One thing I've learned over the years, the easiest way to protect your furniture when you are an obsessive gardener, use a shower curtain. Shower curtains are so practical. I use them in the car, but especially for bringing in trays that may have a little moisture in them. This is what will prevent my dining room table from getting destroyed. Well, I hope all of you will be frost-free despite these dipping temperatures. Be sure to subscribe to the Breathe the Plant Lady channel, and if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.